So everyone is making chatbots with AI. But where can you actually start to include AI into a business that isn't just another bloody chatbot? The very first step you need to take is do an AI assessment. And when you're doing the assessment, really understand that AI's job is to do human-like tasks. That's the goal of AI, just human-like tasks. So the first step in this assessment is talk to your frontline staff. Talk to the people who are actually on the phone calls, are actually inputting data. The frontline staff, not management, not senior or mid-level management, the people who are doing the work. And find out from them, where are the pain points? Where are the issues with the current workflow, with the current process that are highly labor intensive or just don't seem to work well? You can make it anonymous, bring in a consultant, bring in a third party and make it anonymous. However, to get the most out of something like this, you really want to make sure that these frontline people, who are the ones who are going to be using it, they're included in the planning, that they from day one can feel that they have some ownership. Then you're going to start to build that proof of concept, that POC. You've focused down, you've found a single human labor issue, and all through the planning, you make sure that you are solving an actual real problem. Not a perceived problem, I think this is it, but an actual problem that people in your company say this is an issue that we all have to deal with. You would start that POC with off-the-shelf tools, back-end infrastructure, and you're going to make sure that you allocate at least 4 weeks of internal or external development time and resource to this project. An example of where you can use AI not just in a chatbot, and that could be in fraud detection for remittance. So traditionally, fraud detection is rules-based, but this means you have to know what you're looking for to be able to set up the rules for it. What I would suggest is start to collect all of the data from every transaction that has passed your rules, but then found by compliance to be incorrect after it. Collecting as much data as you possibly can, the more data, the better. You can start to allow AI to find patterns. I'll talk about how AI actually works in a later video, but you're going to essentially put it in and say, AI, find some pattern. And then this is how you could start. When a transaction is being processed, one of those rules gets a red flag. The AI will then receive, here is a red flag, this is the rule that's been done. The AI can then talk to the customer directly in the process, in that transaction flow. It can ask them for more information, the same sort of information and questions that compliance would ask if that rule had been triggered. It can collect that information, process that information, apply that information to the transaction, as well as up its pattern it's trying to find, and then pass it through. Now, in this situation, AI is not going to be making the decision. You will not just let it go and send the transaction through. But what AI is doing is becoming part of the loop. It still goes to compliance. Compliance and humans are the ones that are making the decision, and then they will send information back to the AI. This was something you shouldn't have bothered with. This was correct. This was wrong. Some level of feedback. That feedback training, transaction, information, process, additional information, output, human feedback training continues to build and build and build. And over the 4 weeks, the volume of transactions you'll have will start to build an algorithm that can start to identify things much faster than a human could. So where's the ROI in this? Well, from the beginning, you're going to start offloading human labor and human resource to a computer. That means more productivity from staff. It also means that in this particular case, you'll be reducing false negatives, which of course lead to a bad customer experience. You're starting to implement tools that increase the speed of workflows and of course make them far more efficient. And at the end, there is a possibility that you could be building an API as an additional revenue source, because if you've got an AI that can really well detect fraudulent transactions, then that's valuable. Now, of course, the cost. So data privacy in a POC is going to be something you have to plan from the beginning. Be smart about your planning and data privacy. You're going to have a cost in the development resourcing, of course. That could be internal development or external. You're going to have an infrastructure cost because you always have to have a human in the loop. The compliance team is going to have more workload for that time. Plus, of course, the compliance training. So that was just an example, right? That was just you. I mean, if you're in compliance, go nuts, use it. But that was just an example. But I would love to know what you could make. You start with the audit. You find that human labor costs that you have internally. You focus down on solving that single human labor cost with AI. You always have humans in the loop. And of course, everything you do has to have measurable outcomes. So I would love to see what you're going to build.